It's great to be part of NZ Tech Week 2020. Thank you, everybody, for joining. My name is Gary Gonsalves, and I'm really excited to be here and contribute to Tech Week 2020. A big thank you to NZ Tech Alliance and the sponsors for this platform, and to Eventbrite as well for the tickets. Broca has carefully selected its partners to deliver value in use and by leveraging on our strengths as well. And we are grateful that the partners have accepted us. And this is really what makes us strong and nimble and our capability. And we're proud that our partner sponsors us, and hence this beautiful Maori proverb, Ihara takutua ite tua takitahi, ingari hitua takitini. And that is the collective strength of ours comes from all our partners and our staff and our employees as well. So we're really grateful for that. Now, the pandemic has thrust on us unprecedented change, and we as humans really need to adapt, and I'm sure we will, but we need to take charge and create our environment to flourish. And I feel now is the time to do this. So we need to consider the changing attitudes on the role of the office. I mean, McKinsey research, 80% of people questioned reported that they enjoy working from home. 41% said they are more productive than they had been before, and 28% said they are as productive. So we need to really reconstruct how work is done, basically. So organizations need to identify the most important processes for each major business, geography, and function, and re-envision them completely, often with the involvement of employees. We need to decide whether it is people to work or work to people. And basically what this means is, are we going to be fully remote? Is it going to be hybrid remote, or is it going to be on site? And this is where technology can really assist. We need to redesign the workplace to support organizational priorities. And that means breaking down the corporate culture, the barriers between being physically in the office and out of the office needs to collapse. So without much ado, let me introduce the speakers and let us see how technology can pivot businesses and accelerate recovery. So that's me right on the left, Gary. I'm a director for Broca Consultancy Services, and we are really passionate about technology, and I'm grateful to call New Zealand my home. We then have Vikas Jain, another director for Broca Consultancy, who will talk about robotic process automation.
All right, robotics process automation. Well, brief intro of my own first. I'm Vikas Jain, and I have been in IT industry, start from the ground level as a developer, and then became solution architect and enterprise architect, and almost 25 years in IT industry. And I've also done Lean Six Sigma, and that is one of the major drivers of my desire to be in process automation. So bringing Lean Six Sigma and RPA has been the best thing I think that businesses can achieve by combining these two techniques, if you like. So let's start with RPA. What is RPA? Well, I'll just put it simply. Robotics process automation, also which is called RPA, is a technology that uses software robots to automate repetitive tasks and manual processes. Now, these software robots can actually mimic human activities like interacting with websites, enterprise and desktop applications, databases, and even with people. Something like they can log into applications, they can move files around, they can extract content, they can read PDFs, they can make calculations. Basically, pretty much what a user does with a computer, a bot can do, as long as it's well-defined and it's rule-based. Although there is AI in artificial intelligence in place, but then for these robots, basic robotics, they can mimic pretty much what user can do. So these robots, but robots can do all that briefly, but why should actually a business choose RPA? I put together a few points here, which I believe have actually attracted a lot of our customers and have created value for them. First one is it reduces operational risk. Process standardization. By implementing bots, you can standardize your processes. You can make sure that every process, every service is delivered following in exactly the same process, because bot's not going to miss a beat. So process standardization is number one. Second is tighter security. Obviously, bot will handle data more securely, more carefully, in a way that because it is programmed to do so, and that way it will be more compliant. You can assure your compliance once it is handed over to the bot. Third one is data accuracy, because bot's not going to make any typos. However, if the information provided in input is wrong, then it's going to load the wrong information, but bot will not make any typos. So it actually reduces your overall operational risk in terms of delivering a service by executing through your processes. Second one is response to market. Because bots can be updated, changed, altered, and created more quickly than training staff and making changes through the staff, what that does is businesses can react quite fast to the market, way faster than dealing with the workforce. So what that means is it makes businesses more agile. So any compliance change, any service offering change that requires a process change, bots can be updated more quickly to deliver that offering. Third one is resilience, which is again very important in these times, these COVID times. And the way it works is businesses can ramp down an output by simply shutting down the bot. You don't need to negotiate anything with the bot. You just keep it shut. But when the demand comes back up, you simply start running your bots, and it'll try and meet the demand. So that way you really have so businesses are more resilient in terms of responding to the situations that happen in market. And also no downtime. Bots can work 24/7 as long as the inputs are in place. Also, RPA bots have shown to it's quite low cost to implementation. What that means is versus low code implementation, bots can deliver a good ROI. A lot of businesses, our businesses have actually achieved the ROI within 9 to 12 months. So that makes it really low cost to implement. And last but not the least, and there are many others, but employee job enrichment. Clearly, when you are moving mundane and repetitive tasks from human to bots, and then allowing human to do higher level tasks, thinking tasks, analysis tasks, then it actually enriches their job, and clearly it affects employee retention. Now, RPA is not specific to an industry. RPA can be applied to any industries. I mean, as some of them are listed over here, because it's process agnostic. You can pretty much build any process in an RPA. Recent delivery from Gartner and Forrester, where they have actually put UiPath as, so this shows you all the RPA providers in the industry, and UiPath is on top. And out of all these, we have partnered with UiPath for obvious reason, as you can see on the screen, because they are the best right now in the market. And this actually allows us to give the best to businesses in New Zealand. Other important thing about UiPath is that they have got support available within New Zealand. So if we have something, we're stuck with something, we can reach up onto them within the same day, we can talk to them, we can meet them, we can bring them to client sites, and we can solve the problems very quickly. So because UiPath strong support and being the leader in RPA industry, we have chosen to partner with UiPath, which means you always get the best. By the way, UiPath's current valuation is about $10.2 billion, which actually really makes it a big company to partner with, which we are pretty proud of. Now, what I'll do, I will actually start one of our case studies. I'll describe one of our case studies that we have delivered on UiPath to make sense of it. So this case study is about a utility broker. What is a utility broker, you may ask? A utility broker works with commercial sites like Westfields or schools or office buildings to actually get them a better deal on electricity and gas prices. And this can save a lot of money. Imagine the office site with 10-story building. This can save them a lot of money over the year if they get a good deal. Now, these utility brokers, this particular broker that we have dealt with, Their current process required administrator to work with multiple systems, and they are listed on the screen there. It involves Salesforce, Outlook, and a lot of data calculation happening in Excel, going to different websites to capture the information and download it on their machine, and then load it into their system. So the calculations that they were doing, for example, that could require, because they're dealing with electricity, it involves electricity meters. A site can have up to 100 electricity meters. So getting data for all 100 electricity meter and do calculations on the electricity usage for the year, if you were to do it only for 10 meters, it could take up to 2 hours. So a large contract could take at least 1.5 or almost 2 days to actually complete a contract administration of one large contract. And then on top of it, like I said, you have to retrieve data from the website and then load into the system. So this really this was very time consuming. This was very repetitive. And this used to slow them down because they can't scale. They can't actually push their sales team to bring in more contracts, more opportunities, because they are basically constrained by their capability to administer contracts once they come in. And that's the reason they wanted to automate this. We came in and we believe the UiPath is the best software to automate this process because we were dealing with different applications, and UiPath can work across all these applications, desktop, website, and which is Salesforce, which is software as a service. So goes with Microsoft CRM, so goes with other SaaS applications as well. And it can pretty much mimic what an administrator is doing. What that means is we do not have to build complex and tricky integration modules to integrate all these websites. The bot looks through the opportunities in Salesforce that have been won. It basically scans through all the opportunities. It sends the information to the opportunity owner and asks them for all the contract related information. Once the information comes in, bot grabs the information, starts to collate all the documentation and create very consistent naming convention based folders into SharePoint so that they can be published on enterprise portal and for easy access further down the line. And it actually starts to go to website for each electricity meter by meter and start to get information on the GPS coordinates, address and everything, and load all these meters and contract information into Salesforce. Once bot has done all that, bot can basically start preparing for a request for electricity usage from their current provider and then send a branded email to the current retailer on those electricity meters. Once the information comes back in, bot captures that information and puts it into an insights database. And then once it's in insights database, it's available for further insights and querying. Now what bot has done, basically it has cut short all the calculation part which bot has done on the Excel data that has all the data that has come through from the energy retailer, and it had created an output that administrator can use to compare invoices and to provide them a better deal. So basically what we have achieved here is, as you may see, is in the solution what we have achieved, we have actually used SharePoint, we have actually used Salesforce, we have integrated with Excel, and we have taken all these solutions and actually used UiPath to do all those steps that user was doing on all these with all these applications. And in the end, with an opportunity, a whole contract is ready now. So the key point that I want to highlight is that bot has actually eliminated defects. You can imagine dealing with so many electricity meters and data. It was very common to create defects, which means rework. Rework means more time. And then bot has eliminated the defect almost to nil. Bot can obviously, something that they were doing in like 1.5 days for the large contract, it can be done in half an hour. It's so quick. Like hundreds and thousands of rows that bot was manipulating and was manipulating within half an hour was pretty real achievement for our client. And then obviously now they can push their sales team to actually do more sales. They are not constrained by administration because they can scale it as much as they like. And obviously they can scale down if times are tough. to the point of resilience and stay put. The other thing I want to highlight is what UiPath does, because we are trying to automate an existing process, most of it, and standardize it and not changing a lot. The change management is quite low. So it actually dovetails into your existing process. You really don't have to go through a large learning curve for your staff, which actually makes it easier to implement these projects. And it makes it quicker as well. Again, it comes back to the point of ROI. Because it's low code, this project was done within 12 weeks, and the ROI is less than 9 months. And a lot more other things that they've achieved by delivering this RPA.